From the News Talk STL studios in St. Louis, it's the Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. On tonight's episode, auditing the city of St. Louis with Andy Polacek, going to the Two Rivers Comic-Con in St. Charles with James Enstall of Geek to Me Radio, and the Right Mind Studio Band, Mitch Murphy and the Murphy Tones. Now putting the fun in your dysfunctional world, here's your host, Todd Showalter.
You know, I feel like I'm being spammed, like on my email. I mean, if there's one message I've seen enough of at this point, is this whole thing about JC Corcoran, like his show coming on right after ours.
It's a full court press over here.
All right, but I mean, every other minute I keep getting another email. Remember, JC's coming on right after our show. They don't even mention our show. They say it's coming on at a certain time. But here's the thing I want to ask you or point out to you. Obviously, JC has never, ever done stand-up comedy, has he? Because if there's one fundamental thing that you learn in stand-up, and you've done some stand-up, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Okay, you never, ever want to follow a really, really great act, do you?
Never,
ever do. No, in fact, you know, when I would do stand-up, I would try to not even look at the act that was on before me, just so I wouldn't be intimidated, okay? And I'm just hoping that he and his family and his pets and everybody else are not listening to this show right now, knowing that he has to follow our show, because I don't know if he'll go on with it. I don't know if he will.
It's like having to follow Sam Kinison or something. We're over here going, oh, and then JC's going to say, well, here's the Doobie Brothers. You can't follow that, man.
Well, I don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to have to really up his game. I mean, why did they throw him in this slot? I mean, does he realize what he's up against here?
He hasn't even come on our show yet. He's gone on every single show that's on the News Talk STL lineup. Except for ours. It's like he's avoiding us on purpose.
I think he's intimidated. I think he is. And I got to tell you, I mean, I've listened to JC. I used to listen to JC when I was like 5 years old with my mom at the bus station. Okay, bus stop, not the bus station.
With my shower radio, no clothes on at the bus stop.
And I'm like 80 years old now. So I mean, he's been around forever. Okay, so I mean, that's really great. I'm glad he's coming on after us. But he really has to understand that he's following a really tough act, and I hope he's not let down.
I texted you as soon as I saw the time slot. It was going to be Saturdays at 6, JC Corcoran's Wayback Machine. And normally we're followed by the Cigar Smoking Show, which is a funny show to do on the radio.
Yeah.
He's always talking about, oh, this one's a girthy baby. Like, we don't even get that graphic. My goodness, Tony Katz. But JC, I mean, I'm excited to hear that first episode and make judgment based completely on that and maybe never listen again.
Well, and then you know what's going to happen? He's going to throw a JC fit and say, I cannot believe that you put me on after the Right Mind Show. What happened to the cigar guy? Why didn't I have him go before me? You know what I mean? Because then you look better if you're after somebody that's, you know, kind of boring. And by the way, that cigar guy, is he gone now?
No, he's just moved on to later in the day.
Okay.
So JC's from 6 to 9, and then Eat, Drink, Smoke with Tony Katz comes on at 9.
I thought Tony Katz was Jamie Allman. Okay, I'm listening to this guy because I thought JC was coming on last week, okay? And I'm listening. I'm like, what is Jamie Allman doing, talking about bourbon and smoking and stuff like that? And then I realized it's not Jimmy Allman, but I'll be darned, he sounds just like him.
I mean, it's real fun to listen to a guy in a restaurant with waiters in the background, music overhead, just circling ice cubes with your little spoon or whatever, and like, that's good radio.
That's the radio. Oh, that reminds
we got to do a call-in show about drinking whiskey.
Speaking of that, okay, you have a giant sinkhole in your backyard. What is this, our sink ditch? What happened?
Now, something happened 100 years ago. Some guy came to St. Louis claiming...
That's when JC started.
Yeah. Some guy came to St. Louis, claimed he was Jesus, and he was really into pottery. I think Jesus was a potter or something. Or maybe a carpenter. I don't know.
Okay, go ahead.
And he said, you know what? We should make all the sewers here out of clay pipes.
Yeah.
And then, you know... when
Jesus was, what, he was from Jersey?
He was a bit of a mob boss type of guy.
Oh, okay.
And everyone said, well, if Jesus says it, let's make all the sewers out of clay pipes. And look... lo and behold, 100 years later, the entire infrastructure is crumbling. Right. There's sinkholes popping up everywhere, swallowing everyone's whole.
It's like a disaster film.
So I got one in my backyard, and when it's a sewer, I call them stinkholes instead of sinkholes.
Oh, the stinkholes? Why, do they smell?
It didn't. This one didn't smell.
Because of the sewer.
Yeah, the feces.
Go back to your story. So Jesus from Jersey. Go ahead. With his clay pipes, yes.
And they're getting cracks. You know about the crack pipe epidemic in St. Louis.
Crack pipes? Oh, that's what Biden wanted to give everybody. Remember, he wanted to give everybody a crack pipe? Now, did Biden know Jesus from Jersey?
I think so, yeah.
Go ahead with your story.
Come on, man. You want some rock? Let's rock. Crack,
wait a minute. Can somebody roll me over? I'm getting bad sores.
All right, go ahead. So what happened now? What happened now? I've got you on the spot.
So, you know about when you can pay money to name a star after somebody?
Yeah, I've actually done that.
That's a scam.
It's a huge scam.
Well, I think that's the same thing with any contractor who says, I'm going to put a pipe in your ground, and you never get to look at it, and just trust me that it's fixed.
And it's yours.
And it's $10,000. Are you okay with that? And you say, well, I don't want poop in my yard anymore, so I guess that's what $10,000 gets me. No more poop in my yard.
No more poop in your yard. It's ironic going through the sewer.
I'm thinking of starting a similar business where you don't even know if the work was done. I'm going to start a time capsule burial business. You give me all your stuff.
All my stuff.
Your most important artifacts.
Yes.
And I promise that I will bury it in your yard for you.
Okay.
But if you dig it up before the 100 years is up, all warranties are off and no money back.
So it's like way, way off into the future. So it's kind of like that the report on the COVID vaccine. They're not going to release that for like 70 years after everybody's dead. Mm-hmm. And so this is the same kind of thing you're talking about.
Yeah, and then I get to keep your stuff. I mean, this is the hush-hush part. I get to keep your stuff. If you dig it up, you ruined the contract that we had, and hopefully you just die before the time capsule is expired.
I just got a text. It's from JC. Oh, stop being so funny. I'm getting intimidated. Okay, we'll try to be a little bit more boring at this point. Hey, you were talking about that name a star scam, okay? I had an idea. What if we have, like, name a moving vehicle? Okay, so we could just, like, pick trucks and cars out on the road, and we could tell people, hey, for $20, we'll name that vehicle after you, and it speeds off and is gone, but we'll say, trust me, that Prius now has your name on it. What do you think of that?
And we'll get people excited that there'll be a certificate that they get to print off themselves at home.
Yeah.
We're not even going to invest in any sort of paper or ink. We'll just come up with the one PDF file.
Right.
And then it'll have a line that says, write your name here. And then there you go. The official Saab that was driving down 270 on May 25th at 4:20 p.m. That's your car.
All this scammery going on. What time do you get out in the middle of the night to pee?
It depends on if the cat jumps on my chest and puts his butthole in my face.
Yeah, I hate that. Well, I don't let Ed the cat do
3 a.m. sharp. He knows.
3 a.m. Okay, see, I'm sorry if I'm a little off today, but I think I mentioned to you a little bit earlier. Okay, that story that you were just telling just kind of reminded me of this story. I don't know why, but it did. But typically, my pee time is 2 a.m. Okay, and so I get up, and then I get up between 6 and 6:30 in the morning. Okay, because I'm an early riser, not because I want to, but because my wife is elbowing me. Okay, and not in a sexual way. Anyway, and so typically at 2 a.m. I get up, I do my whiz, and I try not to splatter, and then I go back to bed. If this is TMI, I don't care. I mean, we're just it's our show.
Well, you told me this story before the show, and I said you need to rework it. So I'm excited to see how you've reworked it.
It's not reworking it. It's just telling you my issue, my problem I'm having today. So anyway, typically when I do that, I can go back to bed and I go back to sleep knowing that I've got, 4.5 hours left of snooze time. Well, this morning, I guess it's this morning, last night, this morning, whatever you want to call it, I had to pee at 5 a.m. And now I am flummuxed in, because what do you do at that point? I mean, you can't really go back to sleep. I mean, it's only an hour or so till I have to get up. Do I just lay there and wait till it's time to get up, or do I try to go back to sleep again? And I tossed and turned in bed so long with this problem that it was finally time to get up. And that's the story. And I think that's why I'm a little bit tired today.
That happens. They call that on the weekend the Sunday scaries, where just the anxiety of even going to work on Monday keeps you up on Sunday night.
Yeah.
You're just tossing and turning like, I don't want to go to work. And then you're having a bad rest of the week, and it just snowballs.
The Sunday scaries?
And that's what you thought of when you got out of the corporate prison. You were tired of the Sunday scaries, and you said, I'm going to work for myself. And you still get up at 6 a.m. for some reason.
I tell you what, we see around here, too, the old corporate prison, okay? Because as I told you, I mean, I was in corporate prison way back in the day for about 4 minutes. I knew right away I don't want any of this crap. And so anyway, I'm walking around this building that we're at. Is this a true story? Am I being honest now?
We're in an industrial park.
We are, and people walk around here outside in the halls looking like death, just waiting to die because they got to go back to their cubicle, which I call cubicle prisons, okay, our cubicle cells. And it's sad watching these people. We, just on our little excursion a little while ago, driving along Page or wherever the hell we were, how many people did we see just wandering around aimlessly like they were waiting to die?
You could tell that they're waiting to die because they're working out in dress shoes and belts with their shirts tucked in and a big old greasy sweat stain from crack to neck. And then they're going to go back to the office and just sit in the chair and let that stench build up. And now they don't have any friends in their cubicle.
And what did I do? I just yelled out the window, "Quit while you still have time." Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh, I tell you what, talking about quitting while you're ahead. Mitch has practiced it. He's been practicing all week this brand new springtime number. He's dressed up like a butterfly, by the way. I don't know what that's all about, but we'll find out. We're going to find that out and a whole bunch more when we come back. In the meantime, I'm Todd Showalter, along with my bestest buddy, Joey V. This is The Right Mind Show. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter, auditing the city of St. Louis with Andy Polacek. Welcome back to The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter on News Talk STL. And now a man who always comes out a winner on those Mississippi River gambling boats, unless you count the time he went to the floating McDonald's and assumed he wouldn't get diarrhea. Todd Showalter.
Ooh, you deserve a break today. Take it away. Summer, 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 splash at McDonald's.
And we're back on Todd Showalter, along with my bestest buddy in the whole world, Joey V. And on the line now is the man with the audit, the man who is going to bring down the city of St. Louis for corruption, or maybe build it back up. It's Andy Polacek. How are you, my friend? What's going on?
Not much. I'm good. We're my company's a restoration company, and we're dealing with a fire water incident over on Washington Avenue today. So,
really?
But keeping busy.
Now,
and
those Molotov cocktails get slippery.
Is that what it was? Was it one of these liberal woke people trying to burn up a Tesla or something like that?
No, it was bad construction, and I won't name the construction company because I'll get sued. And somehow it's cigarette butt getting underneath flooring out. It doesn't honestly make any sense to us, but one way or another, it creates work for us, so we'll take it.
Would you like to shout out any names that that we can embarrass on the air and maybe get you sued or something?
It was Camel cigarettes, and that is the problem.
No. Oh, one. I'm okay on that one. Thanks.
So you're actually working. You're actually on the job working as you're talking. That really shows a level of commitment that I don't even have. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
Well, I got to do something.
That's what I always say. Hey, you know what? You always talk about this audit stuff. But before we go there, I want to ask you about what do you think of our new mayor, Kara Spencer?
So off the record, full point of view, she's definitely an improvement from Tashara. But I mean, I got to remember I'm on the radio before I say anything bad. Too bad. But anything was an improvement over Tashara. Tashara's just a gangster who follows her dad. Anyone tied to them should be investigated, which should be obvious. I know Kara. I don't know Kara great. A lot of my friends know Kara. Mm-hmm. So the positives are if she at least talks about caring about crime. The concerns are. And I think she may be a little bit more easy to work with for people in terms of trying to move the city forward more. The fears are, Kara is a Vince Shamel-owned asset. I don't know how much you know about Vince Shamel.
Sure.
But the reason, from what I've heard from people, the reason the Arizona Cardinals left town is because Shamel tried to extort them for money.
Get out of here. I didn't hear this story. Do tell.
I didn't know that story either. And Shamel is tied to a guy, another name I won't mention, but let's just say he has a public... a investigation kind of lobbyist firm that isn't really registered who, long story short, we're concerned who Kara's tied to. There's concern that it's just kind of going to be, a lot of times what you see with these politicians is they move one out, they move another one in, and they're still answering to the same moneyed power interests. You know what I mean? So that's the fear with Kara. She's already, she appointed Dan Gunther, who used to be my alderman, was the, who honestly is just a communist. He's one of these guys who was, BLM, Antifa guys, just a complete mess. As like her transitionary contact to the altar people, she's already getting along with Megan Green more than she should, considering the situation.
Right.
I mean, I guess what I'd say about Kara is I think she's an improvement. I consider her a holding, kind of like a holding pattern, a holding space until we can get someone that can actually crush heads and get stuff done. Yeah, I don't know who the hell that's going to be, but one step at a time.
Well, you brought up Megan Green. It sounds like she, I've listened to her a few times. It's almost like she wants to be the mayor herself. She's trying to kind of hang on to power. Do you think there's going to be a power struggle between those two?
Well, you always wonder what is a power struggle for us to consume for entertainment and as a distraction, and what is actually a power struggle.
Oh, like wrestling.
I think there may be. Yeah, exactly. Like WWE. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump knows what he's doing in regards to that. Everything's a show. So what I was going to say is I think there are true disagreements, which is really true different people paying them off. And I think there are actual fake disagreements. I think, unfortunately, the majority of things that people would like fixed, related to police issues and kind of the fact that the NGOs basically run the city along with the corrupt lawyers. And obviously they're all taking money from the big guys, billionaires, globalists, so on and so forth. I don't know that there is going to be a massive change, but I think they're going to pretend to fight. I think there will be some fights. But I'll tell you right now, the people that were the real upstarts in the Democratic Party that ran here, or, because this is the Democratic city, they didn't win. And I know them. And to be quite frank with you, it looks like there's election fraud. It looks very firmly like there's election fraud, and there's going to be canvassing going on and talking to Danny Hoskins and those types of things involved with that.
Wow, that is something, huh? Well, on a more serious note, why do you think female politicians wear pantsuits?
Well, that's a pretty controversial.
For the
don't
pockets.
get me started on that.
They got to keep all those extra ballots. Yeah.
Well, no,
that's the joke.
For the pockets, for the cash.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I thought you were going down the route of feminism and how, women want to be men and men want to be women. And vice versa,
I don't know.
That really hasn't helped society.
I got to tell you, Andy, because you're talking about all these issues that are really important and stuff, and I agree with you on all of them, at least most of them, and I really can't wrap my head around anything else besides the point that why are all these women wearing pantsuits? And they look like they're like 70s pantsuits. I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, I think it started with Hillary, and she's a nutbag.
It's not attractive. Well,
no,
they think she's, the goddess of Democratic politicians or whatever, and what she really was the creator of hiding behind attorney-client privilege.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which now they all do.
Well, I tell you what, pantsuits ought to go by the wayside, in my opinion. You got that right. Well, now apparently Tishwana or Tishara, I got to say her name right. Is it Tishwana or Tishara?
Tish.
Okay, all right.
Tishara.
It's
kind of like a dinosaur name.
I got a dinosaur name. Okay, well, apparently the dinosaur wants to come back. I've heard some rumors that she wants to pull like a Donald Trump or something like that. Like she wants to kind of sandwich Kara in the middle there, because she wants to follow
47 and 49.
Yeah, Joey had it right, and she's almost. Did you hear about this? She wants to make a comeback. I mean, only days after Kara took over.
I did not hear about that. It doesn't surprise me because Vervis is Vervis, her dad, who is her puppet master. The rumor about Vervis in town is, and his friends say he's the best thief in town, and he's tenacious. He never gives up. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I'll tell you that I don't believe it's actually possible, excluding election fraud, because I know a lot of the black community here in the city. Increasingly, I'm meeting more and more of them. There's always going to be some percentage of people that back people no matter what, But I can tell you the black community, one of the reasons she lost is the black community voted against her. Because the city of St. Louis is about 50% black, give or take, right?
Overwhelmingly.
So I don't see it. Now I can tell you, until we get elections fixed, all bets are off. I mean, in terms of what's really going on.
Right.
The aldermanic folks that I were talking about earlier, there are so many situations on the ground that the other candidates should have won, and the ones that quote unquote did win don't make any sense at all. That, it's a sniff test, right? Somebody doesn't pass the sniff test, somebody should look deeper.
Well, how do you think they're going about this fraud? I mean, what are they doing? I mean, what do you think they're
Well, there's always the backdrop of how machines work, because that problem was not completely fixed by our legislature. It was somewhat fixed. It wasn't completely fixed. Mm-hmm. But the real simple way that's always happened in the city of St. Louis, and it matches what's happened with the immigration, that Biden allowed to happen with, fake refugees, all this crap,
Yeah.
Look, we had people, some of my Democratic friends, and these are more moderates, they're not progressives, they just want the city fixed like I do. They were canvassing, and they found homes with 8 people living in them.
Oh.
There's a lot of Palestinian immigrants in St. Louis. There's actually a Palestinian gang tied to the politicians, but we'll leave that for another time.
Yeah.
They are basically, we believe, people in these houses and voting for them. There's some more stuff that's starting to come out that I can't share yet because it ties to the audit, and there's likely going to be a lawsuit over the audit against the city, the Board of Elections.
Well, how close are we now? Because we've been talking a while about the audit. I mean, are you at the point where there is going to finally be some type of release, and we're going to finally know what's going on?
I'll give you a quick summary. I don't know how much time we have, but basically the summary is this: no one wanted to do the audit. The state auditor doesn't want to do the audit,
right?
Which is really disappointing, by the way. I could get into why, but I'll just leave it at that. He doesn't want to do it for now. the Board of Elections did something that was most likely illegal. They threw out signatures because they said someone printed their name instead of signing their name, which, and there's a state law that effectively says you can't throw out signatures for technicalities on petitions and things where you're collecting signatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Secretary of State's office, Chrissy Peters, under Denny Hoskins, Secretary of State, actually told them, hey, we highly recommend you look at these signatures again because I believe they have the number. I guess they talked with their Board of Election Commissioners, and they said pound sand, we're going to do what we want.
Yeah.
But the Secretary of State is convinced if we sue, they're going to lose on the merits. And there are two, I'm not at liberty to say yet, but there are two very high-powered, well-known attorneys in the city of St. Louis who are preparing a lawsuit around the petition. That's up on the audit.
Yeah.
And we're pretty confident they're going to lose. And I think the other greater story here is you have now a unity between moderate Democrats and call us whatever you want, independents, MAGA, all kinds of people who just want their damn city fixed.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and what you're doing kind of goes along hand in hand with what the whole Doge program. I mean, it sounds like you're going in, you're pointing out fraud, you're pointing out waste, and there are a lot of people that are, they're making money off this gig. They don't want that to happen. They don't want that to come out.
And think of it, it's like USAID, right? The moment they do, and here's the problem. There are people at the state level, there are people in the party that we prefer who don't want this audit to happen.
Sure.
Because it's going to kick loose all types of little schemes going on that are going to make, basically the the puppet masters of the actors, if you want to call the politicians that, which is pretty much what I think most of them are, it's going to reveal them. And we're at a time period where I don't particularly think our state is that great in law enforcement, sorry to say that, but you have Kash Patel, you have Pam Bondi, you have Trump, and Trump basically crushing heads in every direction.
Right, yeah.
So I think the timing is good for all this. And what you're also starting to see is some of these moderate Democrats, they're never going to say they love Trump, but they're warming to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think you hit it on the head. I think as you said, people are waking up, and I think that's the first step. And again, you're still going to have the narrative out there, whether it's Doge or whatever you're doing, what you're doing rather with the audit and stuff, where people have been conditioned to say, "Oh no, this is terrible, when it is a good thing." But eventually, I think even the brainwashed are going to come around. But we'll have to see. Well, we're just about out of time, my friend. I know you have a major emergency to take care of with. Wherever, and we're not going to point any fingers, but I'm pretty sure I knew who caused this whole problem. It's Juice the dog, but I'm not going to go down that road. We'll talk about that maybe off the air, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it. You have a good day.
Hey, wait, Andy, one more thing, okay?
Yeah.
You're not wearing a pantsuit, are you?
I am not. I actually have a Tyvek suit on, which I think people generally think of as painters wearing, but in the restoration industry wear it too to keep us from getting mold and other crap all over ourselves. So I look more tougher than I am, or at least more durable.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen Hillary in one of those, so all power to you then, my friend. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll do it again soon, okay? All right.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Take care.
You too. Andy Polacek, he's always got some great stuff. He's got our inside guy. He's like the mole that we have here on the Right Mind Show, don't you think?
Damn moles caused the sinkhole in my backyard.
Is that what it was?
He's got his little Tyvek plastic wrap suit on so he can go scurrying around in my dirt.
What the heck is a Tyvek
And then it causes
suit?
these holes, and then my lawnmower goes in there because it's self-propelled. I'm just cruising along, cutting the grass, and then boom, I'm stuck in the friggin' hole.
That gets you out of cutting the grass. And so it is a giant hole in your yard. By the way, that's less grass to cut.
Oh, I didn't think of it that way. I like it.
I may need one of these holes in my yard, just like I need a hole in the head. Hey, when we come back, we've got your friend coming on who's going to talk about the Comic-Con coming up, James Enstall. Okay, so it's going to be the Two Rivers Comic-Con. He's a host of Geek to Me Radio on KTRS, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, well, he's going to tell us about that and a whole bunch of other stuff when we come back. In the meantime, I'm Todd Showalter, along with my bestest buddy, Joey V. This is The Right Mind Show. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter, we go to Two Rivers Comic-Con in St. Charles with co-owner James Enstall. Welcome back to The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter on News Talk STL. And now a man who hasn't had a decent cosplay costume since Shop and Save went out of business and threw out all those paper bags with the big googly eyes on them, Todd Showalter.
The more you shop, the more you save.
For total value.
It's Shop and Save.
You're back on Todd Showalter along with my bestest buddy, Joey V. And sitting next to me now, Joey, is somebody that you kind of know well because you mentioned earlier he's your friend.
Co-best friend. You guys share number 1A and 1B. Yeah.
What an honor it is. James Enstall.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like Sean Connery would, maybe?
Sean Connery.
James.
So you want to be a soccer player, Mr.
Enstall.
Williams. Something like that. Anyway, James, you're here. You're a comic book aficionado. You're a collector, and you're also. Are you putting together this Comic-Con?
Yeah.
This is a big Comic-Con at Two Rivers. It's called the Two Rivers Comic-Con, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Well, jump right in. Tell me about it. What we can expect. Who's going to be there? Jump in.
Yeah, it's so the St. Louis area needs a Comic-Con, one that's like homegrown, because we've got these cookie cutter cons would come through like
Right.
Fan Expo and Wizard World. Right. So I want something a little more fan focused, because a lot of the times you'll go to these as a comic book fan, there are not a lot of comic book creators there.
Okay.
You'll see the voice of this guy and this guy from this movie. We had Chris Kattan at Wizard World randomly enough, but
I went to his panel.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, my neck. He wasn't as funny as he used to be. Just complains
he
about
needs
his
to do
neck a
Mango.
lot.
Get up there and just eat the apple and like flip it around. Like
Really?
he used to do it on Saturday Night Live.
Like voice actors, then.
Yeah. Well, and we were going to have some of those, but they're comic book related. So
Okay.
we've broken this up. If you're not familiar with the downtown St. Charles area, it's in the historic area.
Yeah, sure.
So the Foundry Art Center.
Yep.
So that's where we're calling the Hall of Justice. So we're going to have the voice of Green Lantern, Phil Lamar.
Okay.
Famous voice actor was Samurai Jack. He's done Futurama.
Marvin got shot in the head in Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Phil
Yeah,
Lamar.
Harvey Keitel had to clean him up.
Oh, that's who it was.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's going to be there.
Yeah, he'll be here.
Is he all cleaned up?
He is now. It looks much better. You can't even tell there's a hole where that used to be. The doctors did wonderful work.
Well, I can't wait to hear and see about that. Or
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that. Okay. And so who else? But, Joey, you just mentioned, but it's very artist friendly as far as the people that actually create the books. So
Right.
what do you mean by that? So are you going to have the actual like the inkers there, the drawers? I mean, everybody that's involved with the production of the comic book?
A little bit of everything. So we've got Roy Thomas, who was a Missouri native. He was handpicked by Stan Lee to be his successor when Stan stepped away as editor at Marvel Comics.
Right.
Roy took over. Roy Thomas is the reason why Marvel didn't go into bankruptcy in 1976, because they got a little comic property called Star Wars
Right.
and started producing Star Wars comics, which saved the company at the time.
Right.
He's also the co-creator of Man-Thing, Red Sonja, Werewolf by Night, Wolverine, Vision, Luke Cage, Power Man, all these characters that he helped co-create.
Right.
So he's going to be there. He's 82 years old. He's still signing stuff. You bring him your books, he'll sign them for you. We've got another great writer, David Michelini, had a fantastic run on Amazing Spider-Man. I think second longest run only to Stan Lee himself.
Okay.
Co-created the characters of Venom and Carnage. He worked on Iron Man extensively. He's going to be there as well. Then we've got some great artists like Mark Bagley, my personal favorite Spider-Man artist.
Okay.
We've got Chuck Patton, who worked on New Teen Titans and Justice League, and he also did production for the Spawn animated series.
Okay.
Keith Williams, another fantastic inker and artist who's done a bunch of stuff. She-Hulk, U.S. Agent. We've got local artist Rick Burchett, who was a 3-time Eisner Award-winning guy, worked on Batman the Animated Series.
Really? Okay.
He's going to be there with a ton of people creatively for the comic book fans who are really going to want to get their stuff signed and talk to these people and just get questions answered about their favorite comics.
Well, how do you go about putting something like this together? Because it seems like it is. It's a huge endeavor. I mean, how long did it take you to? What gave you the idea? I mean, first, and then, I mean, what was the process on putting this whole event together?
So I've got a radio show on KTRS. We cover the world of pop culture. I've been doing that since 2016. We have guests on from movies, TVs, video games, comic books, writers, artists. Half the people I'm bringing to the con have been on my show before.
Okay.
And I've kind of developed this relationship with them now over time to where we're kind of, I would call us friends, whether or not they would agree to that or not, who knows.
Okay.
But I can just kind of reach out. I'm like, we should just, no, we don't have a con here. We keep getting disappointed by these cons that come
Right,
through.
right.
I've got a relationship with the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. I've been doing festivals out there for the past 25 years.
Okay.
So it all just kind of, all these things kind of started to come together. I'm like, we need a convention here. Just turned 50 this month, so I'm throwing myself a con for my 50th birthday.
Well,
Figure what the heck.
congratulations.
So, yeah, thank you.
Are you going to make yourself like a comic book for yourself?
I might have them all collaborate and have them do one big comic.
It could be
Who
done
knows?
right there.
Yeah.
It could be
Rick
done right there.
Burchett did the artwork for the poster.
Yeah.
So, the guy who basically invented Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Not that he would claim that. The guy who invented the character of
That's his
Harley
artwork.
Quinn, he made this artwork just for James.
I'll be darned. Okay. Well, one of the things, because you're a history buff when it comes to comics and things like that. I mean, I've read all the Stan Lee books. I mean, the biographies. You name it. Explain. I mean, the whole thing with Spider-Man, because people think, okay, I still know people even in the profession that think, oh, Stan Lee, he sat at the drawing board and drew all this. He wrote it all out. He had a team. Like Jack Kirby. I mean, was an excellent illustrator. But there was a whole some type of. He may not have invented Spider-Man. It was like the big deal. What is that whole controversy? What was that all about?
People say he took all the credit for characters, and they have what they called the Marvel method. So they'd have here's the plot outline. Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, all those guys would draw the stuff, and Stan would fill in the word bubbles. So they're saying, well, the artist really did all the work and created these people. Stan was the front man, though. He was a showman, presenting the ideas and kind of really selling it to the public. We might not have Marvel Comics now if it hadn't been for Stan Lee, because obviously Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby did work for DC Comics as well. They weren't exclusive to Marvel. And I think it's just a little bit of contention on some people's part that they may be bitter over Stan Lee's
taking the credit, so to speak.
His contributions.
I guess what I'm saying is going with this, though. I mean, people don't understand that a lot of these comic books, it's a team of people to put these together.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like making a movie. I mean, so you have your different people in charge of different areas to do their different things. You have colorists, you have inkers, you have pencilers, you have your writers and things. So it's not like just one guy sitting down there doing that. So you're going to have at this show a lot of the people that are actually actually doing the actual work that are creating these books. So are you going to have writers there too?
Yeah, David McElhaney, Roy Thomas. We've got, I'm trying to think some of the other writers. We've got Alan Burnett, who actually didn't write for comic books, but he is the executive producer on a lot of Warner Brothers animated shows, and he wrote the script for Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which was the big budget 1993 Batman animated film that came out
my
around
favorite
Christmas time.
rom-com, really.
It's so good,
so romantic.
Oh, yeah, that
Batman
was.
gets to fall in love finally.
Get out of here. Oh,
It's
Best
steamy.
love story ever made. With
Were there
Batman.
bubbles and maybe like champagne and things like that?
Of course.
Oh, candlelight. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, candlelight is
I was
important.
getting
You're in the
lost
Batcave.
in the vision here. Go.
No, so yeah, we're going to have writers like that, a lot of artists. We've got the voice actors. So yeah, there's a nice rounded group of people. So no matter what kind of fandom you like, who your favorite character is, there'll be someone there for you.
Okay. Well, a big thing that's coming out now, you have your web comics. Okay. And when I start, I've been a cartoonist for like 36 years now. I was doing back in the day with print comic strips and everything. And you've got this whole transition, and you've got a lot of cartoonists that are saying, oh gosh, so the industry's dying. It's dying. I mean, there's no newspapers going away. I mean, what are we going to do? There's a whole transition going more web-based in digital comics now. I mean, are you seeing that on the comic book side?
I still go to my local comic book store every Wednesday for New Comic Book Day.
What's the quote Stan Lee likes to say?
So Stan Lee always said, people said, the comic books are online now, the Marvel Comics app and everything like that. Do you think that'll ever replace print comic books?
Right.
And Stan Lee famously said, I can't remember what convention it was, but he said, comic books are like boobs. They look great on the internet, but you want to hold them in your hands.
Exactly.
So
I agree with you too, because a lot of my cartoons, people say these look like boobs. But anyway, going back to what you're saying, no, I agree with you, because people think print is dead. It's not, whether it's a nostalgia or like you said, and you can't really, you can collect these, which you can't really do with web stuff. What do you see? Back in the day, we had Spider-Man, we had Batman, all those. Do we have any new characters that are coming out now?
They've got new characters constantly being created. It's just how well they're sticking, because I think a lot of the stuff is either derivative of other characters. Because I know a lot of my friends who are comic book readers who are African American complain every black superhero has lightning based powers, because you got Storm, you got Black Lightning, and it's like every time they come up with a new one, it's derivative of that. Static, which was famously voiced by Stan Lee. I'm sorry. Phil Lamar, I have Stan Lee in the brain, in Static Shock, another electric-based powers thing, and people were like, so the new stuff that's being created, it's hard to come out and break out with something brand new when it feels like all the other stuff. We're seeing that in Hollywood, too, all the Hollywood remakes, and no one's coming up with an original Hollywood plot.
Yeah, so it seems like people are coming out with comic books, or they would come out with a comic book, because it seems like the studios are picking them all up. That seems to be, all the big tentpole, films that come out are all comic book based. Do you see any other comics out there that haven't been made into films yet that you may be?
There's a lot of good ones. And to your point about the comic books, indie comic books, much like Hollywood, the indie films, for my money, are some, better acting, better plots, better story than the big tentpole movies, which are just, cotton candy. And not to Martin Scorsese's point about all the comic book movies are just like amusement park rides. There's more to them than that.
Sure.
But the indie comic scene will have a writer named Jim Ousley, who's a local comic book creator, wrote St. Louis-based horror comic, Atonement Bell. So stuff like that, that's kind of the cool stuff that should be more in focus as the indie comic books.
Right.
It's just DC and Marvel have that lion's share of the market, so they're getting all the love all the time.
So what are some of the other independent? I mean, because you talk about smaller indie comics. I mean, what are the other labels for those?
There's a lot of them. A lot of the owners are doing Kickstarters now because they want their own property. If you go to, even if Image Comics, which was originally made as a creator-owned place, which they still do, but a lot of them, like Dynamite Comics, IDW, they pick up properties and IPs and crank out stuff. Right. Where a lot of the comic book creators now are going to Kickstarters, like my friend Daniel DG Chichester. He's got Axel's Inferno. It's a Kickstarter. He creatively owns that. Jimmy Palmiotti, who's married to Amanda Conner, they famously did Harley Quinn comics for DC. They've got their own IP out. So it's that's the way a lot of them are going, is you look on Kickstarter, search comics, and you'll see a bunch of people come up. Aaron and Greg have Hamlet Mania. They just hit their Kickstarter yesterday. They made their goal. So they're funding their own stuff. They own the rights to it, and they can do whatever they want. Don't have the creative overhang of the big company.
Sure.
Now, Todd, do you have experience working at a con at all, sitting at a table? What was that like?
People say I'm a con, but you know how that goes. But that's a whole different story. Yeah, I mean, like we were mentioning before, just like as far as like way back. I mean, this goes way back. Just like sitting at the table and just greeting people like National Cartoonist Society and stuff like that. But I mean, it was nothing like what you're talking about. The stuff that we were doing was just more a meet and greet type of thing. You're talking about the actual people that will have fans of their particular work that want to show up and meet the actual creator. So, and I would think that it's almost like bands, don't you think? Like you have a lot of bands that they have their followers and things like that. So you see that with the comics also. So you have your own target audience out there that you're catering towards. Are some of the what if you had to I don't want to say summarize the most of these audiences, but are they older? Are they kids? Or what are they for the most part?
It's a nice mix because you've got the older people who are going to want to go get their Red Sonja comic or their first appearance of Vision and Avengers number 57 signed by Roy Thomas, who's 82 years old. He was creating comics in the 70s and into the 80s. Mark Bagley, my favorite Spider-Man artist from the 90s. So you're going to people more in their late 30s, mid 40s who want to see him. And then you've got the voice cast of the Justice League, which kind of transcends generations. That came out in Cartoon Network in 2001, and it aired until 2006, I believe. So you've got the kind of people who grew up with that who might be the millennials, but then they're bringing kids up. One of the greatest things I ever saw at a con, the late, great Kevin Conroy, who voiced Batman, the voice of Batman.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He was at a convention, and there was a guy about my age, a little younger. I have trouble telling age sometimes, but he comes up, and he's standing right in front of me in line, so I'm hearing this conversation. His son, who he's holding by the hand, is dressed in a Batman animated series costume. And he says, I watched this with my kid. Now my kid watches this with me.
Yeah.
And so it's two generations who know Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman. That's what it's going to be like for Phil Lamar and Maria Canals-Barrera and Carl Lumley and Susan Eisenberg, who voiced these characters iconically.
Yeah, sure. And it's not unlike actors and things like that age, obviously. You've got these characters that are iconic. I mean, they don't age. I mean, they can go on from generation to generation. Well, what about you? Are you a comic book artist or creator by any chance yourself?
No, if you try, I can barely draw a stick figure. It's awful.
It didn't stop me.
Well, I mean, you must sell it better than I do, I guess. But
he's a great collector, though. He knows what things are valued at. He knows what he has, but he takes good care with his collection. I mean, he gets things framed. He's got original posters that only the comic book shops are given. I'm amazed at the collection that you have, James.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, there's a buddy of mine, Gary Lobstein. Okay, I don't know if you know him or not, but he's a huge collector too. And a lot of the stuff, when you talk about collectors, it's like anything. I mean, as far as the actual value. So if I'm holding a comic book and I say I'm going through my basement, and I say, oh wow, here's something. I remember the baseball cards. I mean, and I was a kid that stuck the Mickey Mantle in my bicycle spokes and ruined it. All right, so I mean, if you're a collector and maybe you come across some comics that you didn't even know you had, or somebody's mom or dad are cleaning out the basement, what is it that makes a comic book really valuable?
It's several different factors. So if it's a first appearance of a character, that always makes it valuable. Okay. If it's a very rare comic, because in the 50s, a lot of the problem that people can't find comic books in the late 40s, 50s is because they were pulping them for the war. So they were pulping comic books, or the kids went off to serve in Vietnam and their mom and dad threw away the comic books.
Yeah.
So that creates a bit of a scarcity. certain things like that. If it's the first debut of an artist, like Uncanny X-Men number 248, it's the very first Jim Lee, who's a local guy too, here in St. Louis. Now he's the president of DC Comics.
Oh, okay.
And he, if you have that comic, that's worth a little bit more because it's the first appearance of his art. So it's a couple different things can make that. Obviously, condition matters because if you've got a first appearance of a character, but it's dog-eared and the cover's torn,
right.
not going to be worth as much.
Okay.
Aren't you getting stuff graded at the con also?
Yeah, so if you've got a comic book and you want to bring in, like Roy Thomas worked on Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
So if you bring in your Marvel Comics Conan the Barbarian #1, you can get it signed by Roy Thomas. We've got a couple people, Steve's Comics Cleaning and Pressing and Cloud9 Comics and more. They will walk with you up to the table. They have to witness him signing it. They can certify that. They send it off to a company called CGC, who then verifies the condition, gives it a scale of 10 being the best, 0.5 being trashed, and they'll say it's got a yellow label because we witnessed it being signed. Here's the condition, and they'll send it back in this hard plastic shell so that it's preserved and it'll last 200 years.
Oh wow! Well, what is the most expensive? What is like the Mona Lisa of comics out there? If somebody has like the most expensive rare comic book at this point, what would that be? It's
usually those first appearance of the key heroes that we've just talked about. So I think recently at an auction, Amazing Fantasy 15, first appearance of Spider-Man from August of 1962, ended up going for, I think it cracked the 1 million mark.
Wow.
You always, Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman, Detective Comics number 27, first appearance of Batman. Anything like that that's the first appearance of a big tentpole character, those are always going to be the most expensive and sought after comics.
Okay. Well, going back to the expo, let's hit on that a little bit. When is the expo, and how can people visit? And I mean, are there tickets involved? I mean, how do you go about visiting? And tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's Memorial Day weekend, May 23rd through the 25th.
Okay.
It's in historic St. Charles, so it's the Foundry Art Center and then the Steel Shop. So those two buildings will have our collective convention. It is the website is the number 2 riverscomiccon.com. They can get tickets there on the website. We've also got some special events after the con that we've got special tickets for you can purchase in addition. So we're showing the 1982 Conan the Barbarian at Two Plumbers Brewery in Arcade. Roy Thomas will be doing a Q&A beforehand. You get a free Roy Thomas autograph voucher that he'll sign something for you at the con the next day.
Okay.
And that's an add-on ticket. We're also doing one of our artists, Andy Parks, artist and writer.
Okay.
He's a whiskey aficionado. He loves bourbon. Okay. So we're doing a tasting at Cardinal Sin Distillery, which is in the 800 block of South Main. So you go in, you get a specialized tasting glass with a Daredevil sketch that Andy did specially for us. And then you get to sample all their bourbons, their whiskeys, their vodkas, and have a nice chat with Andy Parks and learn a little bit about the spirits. And that'll be an extra ticketed event for Friday night.
Gotcha. Well, it sounds like a heck of an event, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to check it out. Again, the website is 2 riverscomiccon.com, and people can learn more about it and get tickets and do the whole 9 yards. Well, we'd like to have you back, a little bit before. I mean, the event itself, just to remind everybody. But most importantly, you're Joey's friend, and that means that you're now my friend too, which means I now have 2 friends.
There you go.
And can I say that?
Of course.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
More friends, the better.
Okay. See, I have another friend now, Joey. You said I'd never have another friend besides you, but you were wrong.
What if you had a booth there? What would you do? Tricks or giveaway stuff or sign people's boobs?
I probably, I'd try. First of all, I'd be on my good behavior, and I know I wouldn't do balloon animals or anything.
Bring
like
Juice
that.
the dog and give away kisses for $1.
Juice the dog, I would do that. It would be probably like a dunking booth. I would hold some of my Biden books. Okay, my new Biden books that are out. I would hold those, and I'd sit on a little a flap that people could throw baseballs at the target, and if they hit it, I would fall into a pool, like a big vat of boiling water with my Biden books.
And then you throw the books in the air, and then if they can catch them, they get to keep them.
Which they wouldn't catch because they'd be wet, okay? And then maybe they would. But the best part would be me boiling and scalding water. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, I didn't know we were making Todd tea also.
Oh, it'll be wonderful.
Okay.
It'll be a great time.
Hot toddy.
Wow. Well, James, I'm certainly glad that you came in today to tell us about the Comic-Con comic books, and most of all, that you're my friend now. Joey, you got anything else that you would like to ask your buddy here?
Well, I brought in all the most valuable comic books that I own. Of course,
did.
You see I've got Street Sharks here. I've got Ninja Turtles and, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, the the comic book adaptation of Beethoven the movie.
Oh, that is a good one.
I mean, I'm going to get these
Yeah,
graded by
right.
CGC, get them
Right.
autographed by the actual St. Bernard that was in the movie,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I'm going to be a bajillionaire.
Well, not again though, but you still don't have the Fresh Air Kids by American Lung Association, which I think is now going for. I think if you recycle the thing, you're getting like 12 cents at a recycling place. I
If
mean,
we burn the Fresh Air Kids,
that wouldn't that
comic
be
books,
irony?
and just take in
I
those
like-
fumes.
That's the booth that I can have at your Comic-Con. I can bring all my Fresh Air Kids comics, set them on fire, hurt the environment, and it would be the height of irony.
Take a
Wow.
picture. It'll last longer
Oh,
than the
wow.
environment.
I think that would be good. We got anything else you'd like to add? I really appreciate you coming in to see us.
No, thanks for having me. This is great. And like I said, just check out the website, tworiverscomiccon.com for tickets. They're on sale now. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3-day passes available or individual day passes.
Okay, great. All
That's
right.
the host of Geek to Me Radio. Just
you know
saying
what?
cool
Geek
stuff.
To me, that's amazing too. I mean, so we got 3 radio guys locked in a room here. It sounds like a joke.
It does.
Wow, I tell you what. Well, speaking of jokes, have you had a good time today?
I had a wonderful time. Thank you so much for listening to my plight about my sinkholes in my backyard.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to show you one time and just see where the hole. We'll just point to some grass and I'll say that's
I
where it was.
I just want to take a bunch of stuff out of my garage and dump it in there, and that way it'll fill up, and I'll get rid of all this junk in my garage. How's that sound?
That's beautiful. I've actually heard that's what they did back in the day. They just buried their trash. So if you knock over like a century-old house and then
Right.
start digging it up to build a skyscraper,
Yeah.
you're going to find old box springs, some bones from the pets, all that sort of stuff. There's
yeah.
treasure everywhere you look.
Well, you're inside the St. Louis city limits too, right? So I mean, there's a good chance you're going to find some bodies there, won't you?
No, of course.
Oh, I hope so.
Mound City for a reason
Well, then
because
wha-
it's an Indian burial ground and we're all cursed.
I think it's sleepover at your house, right, James? We'll go over there this weekend. What do you say? Well, Erica,
They're here.
Will Erica make us something like maybe like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or something?
We've switched to almond butter, but yes.
Oh, that's yeah. I'll deal
The
with
peanut
it.
allergy was burning too much, so I had to switch.
Well, that never happened back when I was a kid, and that was yeah.
Allergies
12
didn't
now.
exist back in my day.
Well, speaking of my day, you know what I always say, don't you?
What do you say?
If you don't have a right mind, you don't have a mind at all. Until next time, I'm Todd Showalter, along with my bestest buddy, Joey V, and our new friend, James, okay, I'm going to say it, Enstall.
Yes.
James Enstall. See, I did it twice now. And Mitch in the background doing absolutely nothing like he always does. This is The Right Mind Show. Till next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. To find out about all things Todd, go to toddsprod.com. We will see you next Saturday night at 5 p.m. and Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL and always streaming online at newstalkstl.com.